Hello, and thank you for tuning into this podcast. My name is Michael Veltri. I'm a graduating fourth-year medical student at Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School. I'm the inaugural president of BNGAP chapter at NJMS from 2017 to 2019, and a national BNGAP fellow. And today we're going to be talking about how you can initiate a successful BNGAP chapter at your institution or school. So first, we'll talk a little bit about myself. As mentioned, my name is Michael Veltri. I grew up in a small town, Edison, New Jersey. Went to college also in New Jersey and go to Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School. I'm sure you could see a theme there. I'm going into emergency medicine, and just some of the things I've been involved with during medical school is admissions, mentorship, undergraduate medical school education, some research involved with education and curriculum development, advocating for patients, and leadership, similar to why we're here today to talk about BNGAP. So we'll talk a little bit about what we're going to be talking about. So basically, BNGAP chapter's mission and objectives, how to start your own BNGAP chapter at your school, and then examples of what me and my team kind of did at my school to make our chapter a success. So I'll talk a little bit about BNGAP's mission itself, and I'll just read a little bit here. Our mission is to help diverse medical students and residents become aware of academic medicine as a career option and to provide them with resources to further explore and potentially embark on an academic medicine career. And you'll see right here we have our website. If there's anything I don't answer in this podcast, you could always email me, reach out to me, or just look on the website to see kind of what's going on and what other resources are available to you. So talk a little bit about the BNGAP chapters itself. Basically, the whole point of a BNGAP chapter is to do what BNGAP's doing at the national level, but at a more local and individualized level at a medical school. Usually driven by medical students, residents, and fellows. I will say usually by medical students, and it's really kind of similar to lots of already pre-existing things like the LMSA, SNMA, but it's a little different in the sense that it has a focus on academic medicine, which we will talk more about. So let me talk a little bit about chapter objectives. And I just want to start off by saying one thing I've noticed is that when we come to medical school, most of us don't really know what academic medicine is. Everyone's just so excited to get into medical school and start training to become a doctor, and you get your first shiny stethoscope and have no clue what to do with it. But you don't really know what academic medicine is in terms of promotion and retention and, the different pathways. And that's really what BNGAP is here for. So just to read from the slide, it's to explore medicine careers within academia, navigate the array of academic medicine career paths, opportunities, develop and enhance our academic portfolio, and really put everyone on a track to academic medicine if that's what they decide they want to do with their careers. So these are some potential things we can do by designing and implementing strategic plans. This is actually what we expect of you, and I'll talk a little bit about this more towards the end of the presentation. We also expect that at least 2 lectures or workshops per year to really promote the awareness of academic medicine and educate the student body on what is academic medicine. Again, I'll talk a little bit more about this towards the end. Some other things that are expected of BNGAP chapters are to participate or in implementation of the BNGAP regional or national academic medicine conferences, which fortunately we're lucky enough to have basically all over the country. And one other thing that is expected of the chapters is to participate in these monthly calls of national leadership, which is a really great way to collaborate with people around the country. And again, I'll touch base on that a little bit more as we get towards the end of the presentation. Another thing that is expected is to participate in a scholarly project. This kind of coincides with a lot of the conferences we do, because by doing a scholarly project, you get to come to the conference, possibly talk about a poster, do a presentation, and just do something scholarly. And the more we talk about academic medicine, you'll come to find out that a lot of what we do in academic medicine is research, publication, education, and development. And this is what we want to get students and you doing from day one, not only as a BNGAP chapter leader or member, but also by putting you on the track to academic medicine yourself. All right, let's talk a little bit about your faculty advisor. So it says here all chapters must have at least one MD or DO degree bearing advisor. This kind of makes sense because we want a physician to be an academic physician role to you and your chapter at your school. They could also assist in drafting and fulfilling a strategic plan, which we will talk about, and really just oversee everything that's going on with the chapter, help guide you, make suggestions, put you in contact with different individuals from institutions, other institutions, and really just kind of get the ball rolling and be your senior role advisor to growing and developing a chapter and yourselves. So let's talk a little bit more about the strategic plan. So at the beginning of the academic year, each chapter has to provide a strategic plan for that year. And the goal of the strategic plan is to provide a framework to accomplish the work that is important to the chapter. Planning out things early allows the chapter to ensure that they are meeting goals and have actionable steps. To ensure these plans are aligned with BNGAP's mission and goals as well. We provide example strategic plans on the chapters to use as guidelines in creating their own. So first is mission. BNGAP's mission statement is to help diverse medical students and residents become aware of academic medicine as a career option and to provide them with resources to further explore and potentially embark upon an academic medicine career. B are the goals. These are BNGAP's goals, which are broad statements about one specific BNGAP chapter intends to accomplish. Also, the intending long-term outcome of the chapter. So one of those could be explore academic medicine careers to fit with trainees' personal and professional interests. A second goal could be navigate the array of academic medicine career paths and opportunities. Third example would be develop and enhance trainees' academic medicine portfolio. Fourth example could be expand trainees' network among academic medicine colleagues and role models. So now that we set our goals, we move on to objectives. How are we going to meet our goals? So expected achievements that are well-defined, specific, and measurable, and derived from the goals. Then we move on to the strategies. These are really the activities, the efforts conducted to achieve the objectives. This next slide here, I'll give an example strategic plan, and you'll see it kind of has the same outline of what we just talked about. Mission, goals, objectives, activities. Basically, activities are meant to fulfill the objectives, which are fulfilling the goals, which are fulfilling the mission of BNGAP. Now I get to talk a little bit more about these monthly calls. They're really an opportunity for the chapters to connect and inspire each other, share resources, ideas, and to discuss the challenges that have arisen and ways to overcome them. For example, sometimes we discuss recruitment strategies, planned events, difficulty with administration, or any other things that can pop up. And it's really awesome to just talk to people from around the country and share what works, what didn't work, and what they're doing at their level to initiate or continue or grow their BNGAP chapters. So now that we talked a little bit about chapter themselves and what's expected of you, we could talk, how do you do it? So from a national level, it's important for us to provide guidance to the chapters and ensure they have necessary support, particularly as this is a new endeavor for most of you. Mainly, we have done this by using the strategic plan, holding the monthly calls, and then just being around to guide you. So I've outlined here 4 steps on how to get on started. So conduct needs assessment, build, become established, and then prosper. So let's start off with step numero uno, needs assessment. So basically you want to evaluate pre-existing groups at your institution. Is there an academic medicine group at your institution? If not, good, we're in the right place. Poll for interest. I could give you a specific example. How I polled for interest was we are very Facebook heavy at my medical school. Each class has their own Facebook group page that they use. And I posted polls on who would be interested in academic medicine. And through that poll, I saw that we indeed did have a large amount of students who were interested in this. So then we determined the gap, the BNGAP. That was a terrible joke, but anyways, the gap. What is the gap? Where is that need that needs to be fulfilled within the institution's clubs, associations? What can you fulfill by adding a BNGAP chapter to your school? And then you got to look into specific requirements that all the medical schools require. In order to be recognized at my institution, luckily a lot of the requirements that BNGAP sets also were requirements of my institution, so getting those done kind of hit two birds with one stone there. Could be a little different in different medical schools, but for the most part, the things that we require at BNGAP are very, very similar to the things that were required at your medical schools. So now we're done with the needs assessment. What do we do next? Well, now you got to recruit an executive board. You need a president, vice president, treasurer, secretary. There are also roles that you can create, such as first or second year assistants or research heads, but in terms of what most institutions require and what we require at BNGAP is you need a president, a vice president, a treasurer, and a secretary. Next, we recruit a faculty advisor. We kind of touched on this a little bit before. You need at least one DO or MD faculty advisor. You could have more. The more the merrier. The more people you talk to, the more insight you can have, the more suggestions, the more networking. And these are all good things, but we need to have at least one person. And then you have to draft a strategic plan. What do you want to do that year? What clubs would you like to reach out to? What types of events would you like to have? What types of lectures would you like to give? And these are all things that we could help guide you through, and I'll talk a little bit about. But this is really where you get to create what you want to do, set your goals, objectives, and set your activities along with the rest of your executive board, along with your faculty advisors, and really build what you're going to do for your first, second, third, fourth consecutive year. So now we have to become established. So we follow BNGAP's guidelines. These are things I talked about earlier in the presentation. Follow your institutional guidelines, which hopefully align with the BNGAP guidelines to make it a little bit easier. And then marketing and advertisement. So like I said, Facebook is something we used a lot of at my medical school, but whatever works for you works for you. Maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's LinkedIn, maybe it's sending emails out to your student body, maybe it's flyers around the medical school, maybe it's the faculty advisor sending out emails on your behalf. Really, the sky's the limit here, and this is just how we basically, say, hey, we exist, we're a BNGAP chapter, we're new, we're up and coming, come out to our events, engage with us, get on our email list, and let's start building this thing together. And then step 4, just do it. Have fun. This is medical school. We're busy, we're studying, we're taking exams. Step 1, step 2, I don't even want to think about it anymore. We're very stressed out, and school obviously comes first. But the whole point of extracurricular activities such as this is you get to develop way beyond the rest of your classmates. And if academic medicine is something that is important to you, let's do this together. Let's have fun. Just do it. So now that I blabbed a whole bunch about what BNGAP is and how to start your own chapter at your school, I'll talk a little bit about the NGMS story and what worked for us at my institution. So our first event was our intro event. What is academic medicine? Like I said before, most people coming into med school don't even really know what academic medicine is. So we gave just a brief general overview into what academic medicine is to try and spark interest. And then we came up with this concept called the then and now concept. And basically involves having a distinguished faculty member give one of our pre-made BNGAP lectures while including their own personal stories to academia, and then using their own story to tie into the lecture theme. And students have really found this approach to be both inspiring and personal to give specific examples of success and their development. Also, we have the conferences, national and regional. We had a regional conference at our institution. We also had the national conference, which was down in Miami last year, which is very nice because it's cold up here in New Jersey, and it's not that cold down in Miami. And what we got to do is, here's pictures of us. We had several posters in the conference. We get to meet all the people we talked to on the phone or over the monthly calls for months and months and months. Now we got to put the face to the name, network, get to know each other. And it was just a lot of fun. So basically, we talked a little bit about what BNGAP is, what's expected of you, how to go ahead and start your own BNGAP chapter at your institution, and then I gave a couple examples of what I did at my medical school. There's a lot more to elaborate about, and I don't want to put you all to sleep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you here with my name again. This is my personal email address. Feel free to reach out to me or anyone else from BNGAP, and I'll be happy to guide you and give you more examples and really get you on the path to academia and on the path to success. So again, I thank you for listening to me blab, blab, blab away for the last 15 minutes, and I hope you got something out of this presentation. And again, if you have any questions, comments, anything, feel free to reach out to us. I'd be more than happy to answer them.